On 27th August 2024, Jesse Waters on Fox News said live on national television, quote, she, Kamala, is going to be paralyzed in the Situation Room while the generals have their way with her, end quote. On the very next day, the 28th, Fox News announced in a segment that showed Kamala being up 2 points in Georgia as of recording. Kamala is also up by 2 points in Nevada and up by 1 point in Arizona. She is behind by 1 point in North Carolina, but as compared to being down 3 points just a week ago. This is all coming from Fox News itself. Beyond just one news outlet, all polling, regardless of whether they lean Democrat or lean Republican, have consistently reported on the fact that Kamala Harris is trending upwards over the past several weeks and is favored to continue the trend upwards in the coming weeks ahead. But ladies, listen up. You already know why this is the case. But do you know what exactly they're trying to achieve by letting this misogynist madman talk crazy on national television? Well, the answer is simple. They're trying to boil the frog, and the frog is you. You could also call it predictive programming. Basically, they're dropping you subtle cues as to what they're about to do to you once they've overtaken the system from the top. If they can make open air statements about sexually assaulting the most powerful woman in the most powerful nation in the world, just imagine what devilry they will unleash upon the average woman once they take hold of the government. I mean, let alone what they will do to the many millions of women who are already in positions of disadvantage, vulnerability, and jeopardy as we speak. More importantly, they are also dog whistling to their radical listeners, signaling to the misogynists worldwide they already have a figurehead planted in the top of the news outlet hierarchy, and their interests of degrading women will be satisfied if they are going to play their cards right. They're giving cues to the misogynists that they have already infiltrated the backbone of the political landscape in the US and are ready to mobilize for a Handmaid's Tale-like overtake of the American people once their stars align in their favor. Beyond just the surface of an accidental leak of an impolite moment, you have to understand that the tendrils of misogyny has already taken root in many of our social outlets and governmental institutions. Because if it's really that controversial to be misogynistic, then I'm pretty sure Fox News would have definitely not allowed the footage to be released, or would have at least tried to do some damage control by perhaps releasing a statement of apology or maybe even firing Jesse Waters as a response. But none of that has happened so far, which means there's only one conclusion. There already exists a deep-seated caucus of misogyny that permeates all part of society, and they're ready to move upon an order's notice. Do not take a seemingly inconsequential slip to be just that. It's not a slip. The underlying emotions allowing for this moment to take place has already been simmering for years, if not decades. And once again, the tipping point is approaching if you ladies will sit by idle and do nothing in the coming elections. If you do not vote for Kamala Harris, again, I can't imagine what type of fate awaits you come 2025. Considering they already have a 900-page plan dedicated to eradicate your basic rights as a human being, called exactly that, Project 2025. They're telling you. And just to remind you, that's what they're comfortable printing. Inciting sexual violence upon Madam President, it's only what they're comfortable releasing and saying. You don't know how dark they are underneath, you know? Everything you see about misogyny today, no matter if it's in the mainstream media or some alternative online space, for however bad they are, seriously, they're just merely the tip of the iceberg. I hate to be the one to bring a sense of worry and doubt to the ladies, but we must face reality head on and realize life is not some big party. There are times we must get serious, and this is one of those moments. But not all hope is lost, because there exists one path to joy and hope, and that is to do everything in your power to secure Kamala Harris's presidency come 5th November, which is just slightly over 2 months. No matter what the polls say, they don't matter if you don't vote. And like I said in previous videos, just because you want to vote doesn't mean your vote will be in. There's a difference there, because there's a lot of planning to do when it comes to voting, especially this election cycle, where again the misogynists have already planned a multitude of ways to suppress particularly women's votes all across the nation, especially if you live in a red state or a swing state like Pennsylvania and other, again, typically red-leaning states like Georgia, North Carolina, Florida, Texas, Nevada, and maybe even Arizona. You can be sure that if you don't plan your voting route and have a plan B, they're gonna make your voting day a living hell for you ladies. But regardless of all of this, I don't want us, be you ladies or just us as voters in general, to be in a state of fear. Because that's not what our President Kamala Harris wants for us. And that's not what our Vice President Tim Walz stands for. We must keep in mind the viciousness of our opponents, but at the same time bring the blue wave of joy all the way through, regardless of how people may try to undermine us or intimidate us. Vote blue for democracy. Vote blue for decency. Vote Harris Walz for a peace of mind of our livelihoods and women's rights. See y'all tomorrow on the next one.